Hello and welcome to part 3, the final part of the King Basics Guide. Most of this is referential but still important stuff to know. If you don't have time to search through for something specific, again remember that I have a link to the written version down in the description below. Short and sweet, let's get to it. Now normally we don't talk about juggle Oki in this section just because for a basics guide it's normally beyond what we're trying to get at. However, for King, his Oki is worth mentioning because after a Shining Wizard Ender you have a really nice simple 50-50 Oki situation. Down forward 4 beats every option except if they just sit there. If they try any kind of get up, down forward 4-3 refloats. Otherwise, it'll still hit on rolls and such. Down 3 is typically the go-to if they sit there and can only be beat by a stand and block or a spring kick. Or you can also go for a big risky read and try to ground throw. But again, if they stand up, they can actually launch you for that. First, you can find links to all of the stuff I'm about to talk about in the video description below, so definitely look down there to check those out. I'm also going to start with a quick shout out to Applay as usual. The Tekken library of cheat sheets they put together is an incredibly awesome quick resource if you're just getting started with the character. Next, although not a specific person, I know, but if you're looking to better your King play and depth of knowledge, there's no better resource than the King Discord. Any technical stuff you'll find in this guide series likely comes from there. And if you want to ask questions, they will no doubt provide far more in-depth answers than I can. So the first actual player that we'll talk about is Lil Majin, aka the People's Champ. Likely you didn't need me to mention him, but it would be a crime not to list him here. Arguably, the first and most well-known King player in the world. He streams all the time and has plenty of YouTube content, so more than enough for you to go through and fill your time. Next, we'll talk about Puma, who is arguably the best Korean King player. He doesn't upload a ton to YouTube currently, but there are still matches against other top-level Korean players on there. He does stream pretty regularly though, and he was in the tournament, the recent online Korean tournament that Namco did during the pandemic, so you can check that out as well. Last, honorary mention to T-Virus, who is another top-shelf Korean King player. No YouTube or Twitch that I'm aware of, but you can find plenty of his matches by simply searching his name on YouTube. And for a quick link, again, I've just included that search query down in the video description below. Now, before we end this section, I just want to make a note that this list is obviously not exhaustive. There are plenty of other King players out there that you can find, but this is just something to jumpstart your search and get some content going so you have something to watch. Now we come to the end of the King Basics Guide. What can we say about this character? So first, he's extremely well-rounded. He has good pokes, great punishers, good crushes, good homing moves, great Oki, and although his lows are a bit mediocre, his grabs more than make up for that. The only distinguishing weakness of King is perhaps his juggle damage is a bit low, but thanks to his great Oki and wall carry, you'll normally find that you can make up for that weakness pretty easily. You might also hear some people criticize his tracking, which is fair, but his homing moves are really strong, and if you play smart with his pokes, you shouldn't have too tough a time overcoming it. So have fun putting hands on people, and best of luck in your training. Before we leave, don't forget to like and subscribe here on YouTube. I also try to stream whenever I can, so a link to Twitch is down in the video description below. There are also Twitter and Facebook page links down there too. Lastly, consideration for the Patreon is greatly appreciated. Patreon is definitely the best way to support your favorite content creators. Regardless, we hope you enjoyed the videos. Stay safe, everyone.